Robinson with ViralHair.com. We are at NerdCon in Mont Belvieu, Texas. We're here speaking with
Andrew Valdez from Andrew Valdez Visuals.
Okay, Andrew. And what does your Andrew Valdez Visuals do?
Andrew Valdez Visuals, we do art, custom art for t-shirts. We also do art for skateboards, and we also just do mashup art of nerd things. So we take one nerd thing and then another nerd thing that you like, and we smash them together to make nerd awesomeness. And then on top of that, we also work on trying to get our new comic book, The Fallen Star, going. I've got another book that I'm working on called Tornado Girl. And then, yeah, that's kind of what we do.
What is Tornado Girl based on?
Tornado Girl is based on my daughter, actually. It was developed as a way for her to understand tornadoes in general. We lived in a town that had tornadoes, and it was something that kind of freaked her out at first until we told her that, you know, she was Tornado Girl because of the mess she made around the house. And then she kind of embraced it, and now she no longer has any fears of tornadoes.
Great. Now, you guys said your studio does mashups, and that's become kind of a pretty common thing. In fact, it became mainlined in the Amalgam comics back in the 90s that Marvel and DC did. So what kind of stuff do you guys like to do? Is there ideas you guys have in the studio? Is something that a customer will bring to you and say, hey, I'd like to really see this on a skateboard? Or
any time that somebody brings an idea to me, I'm more than happy to give it a try for them. I have done some mashup art on request, but most of my mashup images just come out of me trying to think of something that's funny to me. Like the original mashup image was Breakfast Connection, which was a mashup between the Muppets and Breakfast Club. And that came about through a conversation we had on Nerdfest because they were asking James to do dialogue as Kermit the Frog. And so I told him to do the ending monologue from Breakfast Club in the voice of Kermit. And then that's where the idea came from.
That's great. That's great. So how long have you been doing your artwork, and when did you start on developing your comic?
All right. I actually started doing artwork pretty much since I was old enough to pick up a pen. So I've been drawing for a very long time. I got that from my mother and my brother. They're both artists as well. As for the comic book, the character was originally created whenever I was 13 years old as the character of Max Wick. And there was another character I created named Deathstrike, which obviously there's another Deathstrike in comic books. But after a while, I kind of came to the conclusion that they were the same guy. That, you know, I never had an origin for my superhero, and then the other guy had an origin, but he had nowhere to go. And so they kind of melded in together, and then through my love of history and 90s comic books, it kind of all came together as The Fallen Star. Now, as for the working on this particular book, it's been in the works for about a year now.
Right. Now, is Fallen Star going to be something you're looking at producing yourself, small press type thing, or something you eventually would like to work with a publisher to get out there?
I personally would like to try to get it working with a publisher. I would like to have more of a reach towards people. I'd like for more people to have a chance to pick it up. However, though, you know, I'm at the point now where I just really want to get my art out there and want to get my stories out there. So if self-publishing ends up being the way, then I'm prepared to take that route too.
Right. Now, along those lines, I know some small press people have said once they've got their work to get accepted or used with a large publisher that sometimes they lose the control, they lose the heart of what they were doing. Is that something you're kind of having thoughts about too, or is it something you're just going to wait and see how it goes with that?
Well, The Fallen Star is actually the 7th volume in a 9-volume series. So there is other stories that pertain to this, and it does have links to other stories. So I will never be 100% okay with releasing all of my creative freedom with the story. But however, you know, I would like to enter into a big publisher. So I mean, it all depends on what they want to do. I don't think Marvel would work because they've got a very well established universe, and these guys coming in there might throw a wrench into it. But I don't know. I was always kind of into Valiant, or right. Top Cow, or any of those kind of comics labels.
The companies have their own independent universes in each comic, and they have a work.
Exactly.
Okay.
Image would be definitely an interesting one.
Right. So what makes Fallen Star unique amongst other superhero imprints or ideas?
I would say what makes the Fallen Star unique would probably have to do with, one, his origin stories. It has an origin that's deeply tied into history. Some of it's actual history, some of it's history that I've kind of tinkered with to roll with the story. Also, what I think makes him unique is he's a very reluctant hero. He knows that he wants to be a hero and that he wants to help, but he's not always sure that people are deserving of it. And I don't know, I just feel like it's gonna be a new kind of hero. Maybe a little dark where it needs to be, a little light where it needs to be as well.
Right. So, where do you see your projects going, both your art studio and your comics, say, in the next couple of years?
In the next couple of years, I would like to finish out The Fallen Star. It is a limited series. It does have a beginning, middle, and an end. After that, I would like to move into my other stories. I have a teen drama that I'd like to work on. I've got a 3-part horror series that I'm working on as well. I've got some sci-fi in there. I've actually got a remake of Little Nemo in Slumberland that's in the process also. And that right there is public domain, so I'm very excited to crack that one out.
That sounds like fun. As far as do you have a place someone can bring to you their artwork or get something commissioned for, skateboard, or something else?
Yes, of course. You can bring any kind of commission work that you would like from me to Andrew Valdez Visuals on Facebook. And then we also have a TeePublic page under the same thing, tpublic.com/Andrew Valdez Visuals. It will take you there. And then we also have a partnership with Cheddar Skateboards out of Graham, Texas. And this is our first board that we've done together. It's the Blood Rats board. It is still available on their webpage for $30. And then in a couple of weeks, we should be having another skateboard with Link from Zelda on it. And that's our next big project.
Great. Sounds fantastic, Andrew. And that's Valdez with a Z, right?
Yes, sir. Valdez with a Z.
Okay. Thank you for your time, Andrew. You have a very great show.
Thank you very much.